Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Today, finally, we are doing a proper map analysis of the location Utah, USA, and we're going to be looking at Dylan's farm and his equipment, possible search locations, and areas where he could be found, okay? It's taken a bit of time to get coordinates. Credit to those people who did, put them out there, and I watched the odd few videos just to get some other little track points as well. So let's get into it now and we'll analyse it. So here we are. As you can see, there's quite a few markers, but we'll get through each one individually. I don't know where you want to start first. I guess we'll do Montello on the other side of the border, Nevada. This place, Montello, has a bar, Saddle Saw Bar, and it's where Dylan was last seen before he disappeared. Now, most of you may have already seen this before in my previous video, as well as the footage presented. Credit to Salty Pancakes who explored this area and investigated it. It is quite desolate. There's a bit of a neighbourhood. There is houses, there is a school, there is a Church of Latter-day Saints. So there is a bit of a community. Is it rough? Is it dangerous? From what we've seen, not really, but from reports and, crime and stuff, it's likely. There's also talks about meth labs within the area, whether it be nearby or afar. If we zoom out, you'll see the distance from Montello to where Dylan lives, and it was said there is a 30-mile, distance. And we probably can check that out now whilst we're here, just to confirm two things at once, okay? Add the point. Yes, it's in miles. So there was a marker over this way saying this was the farm. That's 24 miles. And that one says 18. So already it looks like there's false information. Maybe it was a rough estimate at the time by people, but yeah. So you can see that line where it says mining. We'll get to that shortly, but that white dotted line is technically the border between Nevada and Utah, or Lucin. Lucin is this area, okay? So if we just start off down here, one thing I just want to make very clear, unfortunately, there is no 3D mode. So as you saw with the Kenny Veach videos and the hike routes where you saw the mountains and the ground and stuff, it was 3D. It's not here. I don't know if that's just because they've not updated the place or there's not enough mountains to justify it. I mean, there is some down here. Let's get a quick idea. Okay, so it's 3D here. Fine. Okay, so it must only apply to fairly high mountains for it to be 3D. Fair enough. Okay, I'll take that back. So this point down here, classified as Dylan's farm. Now, I saw this on a live stream just recently. They placed the marker here. I can't see the farm. Now, they could be just referring to the land, where it starts or where it ends. So I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that. But supposedly there is an RV within the area, as you can see. And if we just zoom in, I know it's not 3D, but it looks lightly coloured, the area. It's like, well, not exactly a square, but, it's like an area where either there's been vehicles or there's some kind of activity going on, compared to all this area where there's vegetation. There's a clearing in this area, and it looks like there are track marks too. Now, because of it being an RV location, I mean, one thing you could say is maybe it wasn't updated, the map, so it might not show the trailer in this exact spot. There is a black thing there. I don't know if that's a trailer. I mean, it's long enough to be one, but it looks a bit destroyed, a bit rugged and rough, unless it's just rock. I don't know what the black stuff is. So this is one of the first key points. You see some other black spots as well. I just don't know or can't make that out because it's just not clear enough. You've got another black thing here as well. And that one's like a crossroad. So yeah. I mean, you've got this little field here, I guess, where you can see some kind of track marks going on. whether that be for crops or using that sprinkler system as we saw in the TikTok video. Okay. So I think we'll zoom out now and we'll get to a more interesting location, okay? You can see the distance from the farm or the RV all the way to up here. Now, when I received the first lot of coordinates from one individual, credit to them, they said this was the gate to Dylan's farm over this way. Just zoom out so you get an idea. And the reason why is because if you zoom in enough, you can actually see a black line going right across. Either that's a fence or literally a gate. It'd make sense, you know, it's private land and stuff. Does that tie in line with the other location? Does it run in parallel? Well, not quite. It's at an angle. In terms of the distance from this area, let's say if it is the RV, why can't it not stay in miles? From Dylan's gate to there, 5 miles? Okay, that makes sense now. Although I can't visually confirm it on here, that makes sense. 5 miles, that's what was said in news reports and by other investigators, that when it came to Dylan going from like the barn to his RV where he lived, it was a 5-mile walk, and he would just walk there. He would leave his vehicle behind and he would walk back like it was nothing. And this says 5 miles. So, okay, for once, at least that's cleared up. Thank God. So, good. Okay. Let me just zoom in. You got a long, straight road, which goes all the way down. As you can see, it's a long one. A few more crossroads. Zoom in a little bit. So you can kind of make out the gate where that black line is. And if we just follow up here and go down this road, where Dylan may have drove up and down many times in the past, we reach the barn. I know it says farm, but I just called it that at the time. This is the barn. This is the key location, okay? And there's numerous things going on in this area. So, there we go. So from the looks of it, this is the barn, and this is the location where Dylan was supposed to park his grain truck inside of there. But he failed to do so. The vehicle was left outside. It was power washed, cleaned for whatever reason. The seat was moved forwards, so someone under 5 foot or round about that would fit in. Dylan was taller than that, so it wouldn't be practical. And the vehicle was in all-wheel drive, even though it wouldn't work in all-wheel drive. So just a few little key details if you didn't know. Now, when the family did go to this spot when looking for him, yes, I said, found a vehicle, and they also found his boots, which were 100 yards south. Let me just zoom out. 100 yards. Do we have yards on here? I'm not quite sure. Now, I'm sure when I saw it, it was more at an angle. It wasn't literally south. So would it be north, east? Would it be southwest? It's just because when what's he called? Big or Heavy D, when he was out there. Do we have yards? Good. Just put that there. Is the marker working? 100 yards. If it was literally south, it would be here, but it was at an angle. It was more over this way in this area or so. You can correct me if I've made any mistakes whilst I'm making this video. As said, I don't live in the area. I don't live in the country. So it's just a bit of a rough one, okay? The quality isn't that clear. I don't know if that's a road or some kind of pathway. You can't quite make out any mounds of dirt on here at least, but you can do in the real-time footage from the people that have, flown in the area and walked. So you will get a clearer idea in those. But this is just an aerial viewpoint, okay? So aside from the boots, which were found round about here, over this way, it's hard to make out, as I said. What else is going on? Is there any other key spots? Now, you notice there's this longish thing again, all this black stuff, which was similar to what we saw at the other RV location. I don't know if these are RVs or something else, or is it just rock? It's hard to tell from looking at here, but it looks similar to what we saw a bit earlier on. Here, I guess you got like some trailers, pieces of equipment, farming related stuff. Then you got that orange thing, maybe a trailer of some sort, which would be attached to a tractor. Some other vehicle there. Is that like a long black pole or something? Is that a combine harvester or some other kind of thing? That looks to be a truck from the looks of it. You've got a few tyres there. Something else going on. And then over here, that looks like maybe a tanker or an old one. Maybe a few more there, or trailers. And then you got these light patches which are scattered about. And when Pancakes did a video in recent time, it was a bit of a cryptic one, okay? And he kept pointing out all these light coloured circular patches which were a bit suspicious, what he claimed. Okay. So it's light coloured, the ground in this area, as you can see. A few little objects that stand out. There seems to be, that looks like more of an RV, to be honest. That does look like a trailer, but I don't know who for. I can imagine it being Dylan's. Is it another worker? But that definitely looks like an RV. In this area, just a bit of like a scrapyard in a way. Bits of material and items scattered about. The barn itself, which isn't 3D, unfortunately. So yeah, truck around this area, just in front, parked up. You can't see it on here because obviously of the timing. And then the boots over this way. Okay, so we've covered that location. As for the phone, they did say that there was a phone ping within the radius of like the barn, but it was a bit further out. And as you can see, towards the left, up this way, this is where the final phone ping supposedly was, in this area. Now, if we just do a quick distance check, okay? Miles, just plop it there. Gonna zoom out. And let's just measure the distance from there to the farm, okay? About 2 miles, round it up. Not 2 miles, sorry, pardon me. 1.60 miles, okay, 1.60 miles. But you can round up the time it would take, because if it's on foot, it would take much longer than if you were in a vehicle. Apologies, that's what I meant. About 1.60 miles, which isn't much, to be fair, but depending how you get there and back, you know. But if Dylan does 5 miles casually when walking across that terrain, you know, they said he just went in a straight line, then yes, he could manage this. But the question is, though, why would the boots be in this area round here, and then why would he go 1.60 miles all the way up to here with no shoes on? That makes no sense. So I'm just going to put an idea forwards immediately, okay? So let's say this. Dylan's within this area, or he might be followed by somebody into this area here or so. His vehicle may still be parked up in this location. And then whatever happens, whether it be an ambush, an attack, Dylan is either knocked out or straight up killed on the spot or kidnapped, whichever way. His boots, for whatever reason, are left behind. The suspect drags Dylan into the vehicle and then drives off, maybe down a road or literally goes off-road, maybe. And then eventually, okay, he could drive up that road, turn left, okay, just follow me, because you see it's in the direction of that final phone ping. So whilst Dylan could be in the truck for whatever reason, whether it be by choice or not, conscious or subconscious, his boots are left behind, but his phone is still in his pocket. They drive up this long, winding road and then eventually turns off. I don't know if it is possible or not, but turns off at a certain point. Maybe turns off here, comes down, and then because it looks like a clearing, turns left, okay, where it doesn't seem as rough, and then all the way here. And then what happens from there? Dylan's phone, before it dies of battery, maybe. It's low on battery once they finally get here, and then this is the last known location the phone was turned on. And then after that, it died, or it was damaged. It was whatever. So what happened from here? If this is the last known location of Dylan's phone, was Dylan in possession of it at the time, or was it the potential killer? And why would they be in this location? What's so significant about this area? It does look pretty desolate. I don't really see anything of interest that stands out. I can't see any mine shafts from the looks of it. Can't see any caves either. You can leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of this spot. I mean, it definitely is a clearing. Whether it's used for farm-related stuff or not, probably. It's kind of black there, but I don't know if that's vegetation or rock. I guess you've got to look out for these little circular dots as well, because there could well be mine shafts, because if you look at the Kenny Beach mystery, Joe May Canyon, there is mines, and it's just like brown little dots, and you wouldn't know from aerial viewpoints. So yeah, roughly in this location where the phone ping was. Now, you'll notice another marker over in that direction. So let's head to that. But before we do, as I said, okay, Dylan's phone was last seen here. Dylan may be in this area, or he was taken elsewhere. But for sure, the vehicle was returned at some point, because it did get muddy. It was cleaned down, so that would imply that it has been used at least once since. Okay? So it might have been used on the journey to get to this location, to drop the phone behind here, maybe, and then whatever happens after that, and then it's returned back to the farm to make it maybe less suspicious. I don't know. So, if we just focus our attention up this way, I'll tell you the direction in a second. So, that's north, east, south. Is it like southwest? Maybe. Kind of like southwest. So we head over this way. We'll follow the road, let's just say. So maybe the vehicle turned back round, or something did. Comes back onto this main road, as I said. Goes all the way down. And then, is there a turn off? Is that a road itself here? Let's say it is. There's a turn off, a thin road where you can see it wind. And then go all the way down. You can see there is a road. And then it splits off. And then you can see clearly there are two RVs. The question is, who are they? Who do they belong to? I'm not sure personally whether the Dylans or it could be the squatter, James Brenner, also known as Jim. So yeah, just flip the screen slightly. So you got the phone ping in that direction, and then further on you got Dillon's Gate there. A few vehicles. So what? There's like, is that 2 RVs and 2 vehicles? And then it looks like 2 quad bikes maybe, a red and blue one by the side. They look like quad bikes. And then the 2 vehicles here probably to tow the RVs. So what, 2 people live here or is it just 1? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you can leave a comment down below. You may know who it is. You've got some weird patch here with a black object. I don't know if that's a trailer from a truck or if it's maybe a hole in the ground. There you go. You get an idea of all the key points from this angle. So yeah, different ways of interpreting it. Now, any other locations to look at? Yes. If we go over this way, you've got Lucin Airport. I don't know how popular it is. Don't know how many people use it. I mean, if it's a ghost town, virtually no one around, so maybe it's not used that often. I don't know who owns it. I don't know if it's private. Okay, most likely it is because it's one of those what you'd see in GTA. You know, one of those random airstrips in the, is it Blaine County? I don't know if that's what you call it. So yeah, you got some buildings as well, which may be related to the airport. I don't know, the barns again. You can see a shadow of a tower. I don't know if it's a water tower. It could be. Yeah. And you got the runway. Fairly long runway, as you can see. You got the hangar here. Now, this was referred to in Pancake's video. You can clearly make out a plane, not a large one. Is it a private plane? Maybe. You've got a red vehicle there. Well, it's red, but I don't think it's the one Dylan had. Well, interesting. So, what could be a wild theory? Well, one idea, and people probably won't accept it, which is fair enough. For whatever reason, was Dylan smuggled out of the area via this airport? You know, if it's to do anything to do with drugs, transporting, trafficking drugs, getting kidnapped, getting caught up in a mess, in a bad situation, was he kidnapped? Was he taken to the airport, put on the plane, and then flew off somewhere? Did Dylan see something he wasn't supposed to, which involved James Brenner, maybe? You see what I'm trying to get at? Like, was he smuggled out or was he forced to get away for whatever reason? I don't know if anyone's been at the airport yet. You know, I'm sure maybe there is videos. I'm just going through it slowly, okay? You've got some more buildings back here, or trailers, or maybe RVs. Don't know if it's people that work at the place or like live and work in the same area. But it does look like a private airport because it's only a small makeshift one, but you can make out that plane clearly. Looks interesting. You just look at it from this way. You can see that. Now, over this way, heading kind of northeast over this way, you got some key locations. So there's a mine up this way, from what I've been told in coordinates given. There's a mine in this location. I think it makes sense because nearby you do have a digger. You can see it, that yellow one with the long arm, digging away. You can actually see the ground in the excavation where it dips and the holes created. So they're digging away, doing work, getting resources, I guess, or making more room for stuff. And just further on up, this is the mine location. It looks like one, the colouring of it. Is it a salt mine? Maybe? I know they said the land, there was quite a bit of salt, so it could be a salt mine or whatever. It does look like there's, I don't know if that's a cave on the side. It's not 3D, so it's hard to tell. But there is some ridges and shadows, so it's a bit deceiving. I don't know exactly where the mine entrance is. Is it a mine shaft, or is it like into a cave and then it drops down? Not quite sure exactly, but if you see maybe the hole to the mine shaft, it may be hard to do so because of the quality of the image. Okay, so what's so significant about this area? Well, whether it was by accident or it was planned by someone, some people have said that what happens if Dylan has fallen down a mine shaft, gone into a mine, and he's in danger, he's hurt? Possibly. I mean, you look at the area, you look at the location, it's not too far away. We'll just do a little distance check. Okay. Miles. Oh, I wanted it in miles, but it doesn't want to. That's typical. Right, never mind, screw it. Where is it? 5 miles there. So that's interesting, isn't it? Once again, 5 miles from the mine shaft to the final phone ping, 5 miles from the other farm, the farm, the RV, to this barn here. So it's all kind of relative or equal distance to one another. Not every single thing, but some of the key spots at least. So within walking distance. There you go. So, was Dylan operating in that area where that mine is? Or did someone take him there to dispose of him? It makes sense in a way, but it's one of those things. If it's in use and it's not abandoned, then someone might come across Dylan, unless the suspect wasn't thinking at the time. You know what I'm saying? If it's abandoned, you're probably more likely to dispose of something or someone in that area. Now, there was one last location nearby which I didn't describe. Just a bit before the mine and before the digger, down here, in the middle of nowhere, there's just a blue container. It looks like one of those, what do you call it, cargo style containers. Now, I've seen them before, farmlands, you just get the random container, but we're talking about vast space. What's it used for? I mean, you might have a few of these containers near the farm, next to the barn, or on a work site, but is this container connected to the work being done here and up here? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just used to store equipment, but it just feels kind of dodgy. You've seen it before in films where people have been kidnapped and then they've been locked inside a container, storage one, like one of these, a typical blue coloured one too, or red. So, has anyone been in this area, looked at the mine up there, and also looked at this container? Interesting. Now, there was another container somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to relocate the second container, but you get the idea that, there'll be the odd few just scattered about in the vast land. The question is, though, have they been explored? Has anyone gone into them just to see if anything's been stored inside, or anybody? People recently have been talking about the barn itself where Dylan's vehicle was found. Has anyone been inside it? Because, okay, maybe there has. Maybe people have already been inside and investigated, etc., etc. But people, it's not just me. People criticise me, saying, "Oh, I should be looking at this and looking at that if I need to know information." But as I said, it's all convoluted. It's all over the place. You've got a vague title with lots of information mentioned within it. You want a specific piece? Can you find it easily? No. Do my videos do that? Yes. Are they? Do they gather as much information? Not as much, but it's spread out, but it's much clearer. And as I said, looking back, there are other people out there, not just me, who are still asking questions. So, I'm not the problem. The way people are wording it, some are. Other people are saying, has the barn been explored? Some people believing that Dylan is inside of that barn. Some people questioning, has the vehicle been done for DNA testing, like hands on the wheel, gear stick, etc. Who was behind it? Because the seat was adjusted, surely somebody else was responsible for it. Someone did make a point saying, well, Dylan could have moved the seat back when he was looking for something if he lost his wallet or his phone. Well, maybe, but his keys are gone, his wallet's gone, or it's not there, his phone was further over that way, so it depends how you look at it, okay? So maybe to some people complain, say this is too late and be making a video like this, and it is too late because they called off searches for the general public. But, first of all, it's taken a bit of time to map the location out, okay, to make sure it's somewhat accurate, because not everybody was forthcoming originally to give out, I guess, key points and spots. And as said, to get specific coordinates and stuff, it wasn't there at first. Took a little bit of time, and although there might be videos out there that might have the odd few pictures and photos and map points, was it clear in the title of the video? No, because it was a part of a much bigger video which was 2 hours long. And are you going to sit through that for 2 hours? No. I'm just clearing it up as I go along, okay, for people that are confused. I've tried to keep it in the same format and style as the Kenny Veach one, looking at each area, potential routes, checking the distance out as well. I've not gone as all in terms of all the potential routes and optional ones, pathways and the time it takes, etc., because the mileage isn't as extreme as the M Cave one, plus the terrain is different to Jeremy Canyon, much more rockier Jeremy Canyon, much more dangerous. So the timing is different when you're actually on foot. Just taking all these like little variables and stuff into mind. So from the aerial viewpoint, there's a lot of distance, very vast, quite a bit of farmland. Can't remember the exact figure of how much space owned by Dylan, but quite a bit, as you saw. And it's just one of those things where you've got an item over that way, which is personal, his boots, his only pair, what he would wear. And then you've got the phone over that way. So it's like trying to question what came first, the boots or the phone, then the boots. Was Dylan directly responsible for both or one of those things, or did someone else do it? That's the question. So you can leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video, the map analysis. Did I miss anything out? Is there any other key spots to look at? What I will just mention very quickly, because I don't think I touched upon it, might as well just do it now. You saw that border, that white line between Montello and Nevada, that blue line, there was another little mining spot there, okay? Although it's on the other side and it's not within the space of Dylan's farm, it's just one of those ideas. Could he be placed there? Could he have been dumped there? Who knows? What we can confirm there is there's quite a few different mines. I don't know how many mine shafts / mines, but in vaguely speaking, there's a fair few of them from what we've seen from above and in actual footage. So he could have gone into one. I don't know why, because he's not into mining, farming. Most likely it would be because another human put him there. As for caves, I couldn't quite see caves in the area because it all looks like flat ground, but near to the border, I guess, the mountain tops where it becomes a bit more 3D, there could be a few caves on the side. As said, when you're doing it from aerial viewpoint, Google point of view, it's difficult. It honestly is difficult to try and find potential spots like that, because with the Kenny Veach case, you know, you see like a black patch and you think, oh, is that a cave? Is that an opening to one? Or is it just a slight little crack in the rocks, or a dip in the ground? Does it dip down? Just simply the shadows from the light as it bends round and stuff. You get what I'm saying? So it creates that illusion that it might be a hole when it's not. So you've got to always take that into mind. So yeah, quite a bit to process. I don't know if it was too much in one video, but if it needs explaining again, or it needs summarising at another point, I'll try and do that, okay? That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.